Hi, I am Damia Torhagen, and I am an actor.
You sent me a video a long time ago, and I remembered it. And even though we didn't get together and work together, years later, we ended up working on Alien Parasite,
That's
which I
true.
actually have I have stills to put in here, which is a crazy movie in itself. We can talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to give the actors hope that just because they don't get to audition, people do remember some of the stuff that you do. And you might not get this one, but you'll get something else. And you said that you had a similar situation of people contacting you.
Yes, so it has happened. Like you said, it happened with you, where I sent something in, and then years later you contacted me, and that's not the only time that's happened. I will audition for something and I don't get it, and then I forget about it, and years later someone will reach out to me and say, "Hey, you auditioned for me, however many months or years ago. I liked what you did, and but you weren't a good fit for that. Would you like to audition for this?" Or I think you'd be a good fit for. Sometimes I don't have to audition. So it really just depends. Like if you do something where you feel really good about what you did, even if you don't get it, it'll get remembered and you might get something down the line.
Well, even if you don't do something good, it's like people look at things different ways. Back in the day when you sent me the wrestling video, that was just something you did with your roommates, but it stuck with me for years later.
Well, they weren't my roommates. That was part of the show. We were
Yeah.
playing roommates.
But either way, it stuck with me. And like I said, the cool thing is it's just timing. That's what it is. Because I keep telling people sometimes that, auditions are kind of bull crap. There's so many factors in it. Like if you fit good with the guy here, but you don't fit good with this person here, then I got to go with this person that matches more. People shouldn't take it personally and just should keep using an audition as a practice.
Yeah, no, and I think your message about hold out hope because you may have had an awesome audition that just, didn't necessarily connect. I think that's a really big thing to tell, particularly young actors who are just starting out that like you could hit it out of the park and still not get cast and it's not your fault. You just didn't necessarily fit the vibe of what they were trying to do.
Well, there's so many sides to it too. Like, I don't know if I ever told you, but the role that you played in Alien Parasite wasn't the role that you got.
Okay.
I mean, we've done a lot of movies, we can be honest here. And the fact of the matter is that when you cast a set of people and then certain people you have to take out or pull out or whatever, you have to rearrange them. So
Mm-hmm.
it is really good if an actor can be what I call a character actor, because then you can play more stuff. But I did want to ask you about, I told you I might bring up the whole tattoos. Has that ever hurt you on audition? Because I
It,
did not know that that thing wrapped all the way around.
he's talking about my dragon. So I have a dragon.
You have a
Um,
picture on your Facebook that actually shows the face and all that. And
yeah, and it does. It wraps all the way around. I'm actually tattooed for most of my torso, and it hasn't yet.
do you know it or do you not think it has hurt you?
It has never been mentioned to me. Let's put it that way. But I always bring it up, or I wear something where it's evident that I have a little bit, and I'm like, for the most part, it is work safe. Meaning that if I wear cap sleeves and like slightly higher neck, like you would never know I had tattoo. But like I think it has helped me because I like to play roles where I'm playing a character that needs to be a little tougher, and
Darker,
it's it's
darker.
a it's a shorthand for playing for being tough to like just have a tattoo and to look serious.
Yeah.
And if you look serious and you have a tattoo, especially now that I have this eyebrow piercing, it's easy to get that kind of role because they're like you fit the part of what we're trying to do. So I don't know. I don't know if it's hurt me. And I do have tattoo covering makeup. And I make it clear that like if you need me to cover something, I can do that.
But hey, in Alien Parasite, luckily with the even though they were a pain in the ass, them suits, they covered you up completely. They covered everybody up.
Absolutely, totally. Yeah, we all look like little puffers just kind
Yeah.
of walking around.
You worked on a lot of projects other than mine, which, we can talk about them.
Okay, sure.
But what I'm saying is you're good at networking. I know Don got you and Seal and Carly from me, but you network the way you're supposed to. You get a lot of roles.
I am lucky in that, and I know I'm lucky, I have found some directors who just like me, often offered, not main roles, but like nice, juicy character roles, because I like to be a character actor. I'm offered character roles from these directors without really having to audition. Just because they're like, hey, it's not a lead role, but it's an interesting role. And I go, well, I don't need a lead role. I mean, I'll always take one. One director has even told me he likes to cast me because he knows he can give me something really strange and I'll make it seem like an actual person. Which I'm like, I think that's good.
If somebody stresses making a movie that you find easygoing people, you want to keep them around. From my point of view towards yours, is that's what we want. We want people that, hey, we got so many other things to worry about. We want people that are fun to work with. And
Well, thank you.
I picked it up on Alien Parasite. You got a good memory.
Well, so when I memorize, I make sure that I memorize my lines and I have an awareness of the other person's lines. If we need to jump, I can jump. It also is really good in terms of knowing what came before. So when you're saying your line, you're not saying your line in a vacuum. You're saying your line based on what happened immediately previous. Yes, it makes it very easy because you can be like, oh, this is the scene, where the guy is stuck in the airlock and we're trying to get him out. Maybe my lines don't touch on that. But if I don't know that that's what's going on, the lines that I deliver aren't going to make sense because there's no urgency based on the fact that the guy's stuck in the airlock.
So did I hurt you with Alien Parasite? Because remember, I did something very unorthodox. I only gave the actors their parts. If you did not know the movie, if you're not in the scene, you don't know nothing about it. But
That was difficult.
I did that because a lot of people were new and haven't acted before, and it was just too overwhelming to have here's a whole feature. Dig through it and find your part. It was a lot easier just to give them just a little touch.
And see, I thought you were doing it to try to protect the ending.
No, I wouldn't have gave that away anyway. No, my main purpose was to make it easier for the actors that that were stepping up. That usually were just like extras in movies that now have a part and pressure's on, the lights are on. Well, you only got to learn these couple pages, not the whole 100 and some. If you're not in it, you don't need to know. And technically speaking, if you think about it, if somebody gets killed in the back room in the movie and you don't know about it until you find the body, why would you need to know?
I mean, that's true. That is true. I like to know the whole script just because that's how my brain works.
I didn't want people to know in case they didn't like it and then they didn't want to do it. That's another.
Oh, there's that.
That's
Okay.
a producer director secret. Don't let them know the ending. That way they'll finish the movie.
No, hey, it makes a lot of sense. Like a lot of us were just waiting for you to finish the movie so that we could figure out what happened.
Yeah, and it took 4 years. Let's move on. But we made other movies, and like I said, I'm glad that you came back as many times as you did for the random acts and the other.
Yeah. Oh, you're fun to work with. I always know I'm going to get a really interesting project when I'm working with you.
You're just sucking up.
No, it's true.
I know that there are like character actors, and I always like to put them together, like you, Fred, and Jacob, for the one that we got coming out, which, by the way, if I didn't tell you, it's edited. I just got somebody working on the music. And
Oh, cool.
so that one's already cut, and I got the other two I got to do.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty, we're not going to tell anybody, but the thing that's in the car, it was funny.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. No, I'm glad I felt like I got to work
I
with
shouldn't
Fred.
even said that, to be honest. I shouldn't even said that. You know why I shouldn't have said that? I cut that out. Anyway, nobody watched this and then gonna watch the movie. But yes, I try to hide things in my movies, mainly because my audience is the people I know.
On this one project where I was doing this little cameo. So my scene is I'm this washed out party girl and I'm going home. And this guy is asking me questions and I don't know the answers and I'm just kind of blowing him off. I get in my car and I go to drive away and he shoots me in the head and I die. And the entire audience just gasped, which has never happened in anything that I've done before, because they all expected that I was going to keep
Yeah.
going. And it was really cool. So like these little roles where I mean, it was 30 minutes of work, but it made an impact because like everybody was like, oh man, like what happened here? So if you can have one of those moments where like people don't know what's going to happen, like it's a big deal.
In my mind, every one of my movies has one of those. Now, like I said, it's glad that that one paid off for your filmmaker. You know, not all of them pay off, but
True.
remember, we have a different look at it. Like, not to go back to Alien Parasite, but your character had a different purpose than actually being in a movie. Your character
Hmm.
had a purpose of kind of throwing off the audience in my head. Not that people saw that when they watched the movie. So that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
I was sort of the
Yeah,
red
you
herring.
were the person that people thought was going to be one thing, and then and then I wanted that shock value, and that's what Jacob and Fred was there for too. The heck? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you knew Fred was going to be a bad guy.
I like people to play things that are different than what they are, because that's the fun of it.
Yeah, to
It's
see
like
what people can do. Yeah.
escaping the stress of life. And since I brought that up, you go to school, you go to work, you're trying to do the stuff. How? I know a lot of energy drinks. We talked about that, but how do you have time?
So I work in cycles, and what I mean by that is like whatever is needs to be the focus is the focus of that week. So like for example, if work has a lot going on, then I focus on work for that week. And then work will take a back seat for acting when I'm doing an acting project. So then I'm focused more on that. I'm also starting a band. So like acting and work will kind of take a little backseat to working on that, and you just kind of it's a cyclical process,
Yeah.
and it really requires patience. It requires having a really keen grasp on what you've agreed to do and by when is what works for me. And there are days when I don't want to do it. And when I don't do it, it winds up biting me because then I'm like, well, what did I agree to do? And what does it do? And then, you get in that cycle. And then you also just have to realize that eventually at some point, your body is going to say, you have done all that you are capable of doing for this week. You will go to sleep now. And you just have to build in days where schedule, I mean, it's never going to be totally feasible because there's never enough time in the
Never
day.
enough time, never enough time. And I know you
No.
sent me before we did hostage, you sent me a schedule and you're like, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be there and there. And I knew that you were also working in your building, working it there. And I was like, and then yeah, I think you did mention, oh, I'm gonna start a band. And I was like, you ain't gonna have time for me. The day before we're filming, I was like, we need backup because she might not make it.
Oh no, no, no. If I agree to do something, I'm gonna be there. It's
I
just,
know that you in spirit want to be there, but you did spread yourself pretty thin. No, you're not a talker. You go out there and you do that. And you also, I know that you like going to the Rocky Horror Picture shows.
well, no, we're the official shadow cast of the E Street Cinema in DC. On the second weekend of every month, we're there being the shadow cast, and people can just come and watch the movie at midnight. Have fun.
That's what I'm saying. I know, I feel that I never have enough time in a day. And then to hear you, I'm like, man, I need to get my butt up.
Let's be perfectly honest. I don't sleep enough. So I get a lot of cool stuff done, but I do periodically just go, okay, today must be dedicated to sleep.
What are you working on now besides everything?
So I am auditioning for projects at the moment. We have, let's see, Heavy Duty Man is in post production. It's a feature length, Absurd Productions Pictures. It should be coming out in November or December. It's a superhero parody movie, and I play the bad guys number 2. I have a feature role in their Blood and Breakfast, same company, which should be coming out around Halloween. And that's a nice little horror flick. Like I said, I'm launching my band, finishing up my grad school thesis, which hopefully will be done in the next 6 weeks.
Don't forget that other one that you forgot. I don't know why you forgot it, but hostage.
Well, yeah, I figured that you were going to talk about your projects.
I wanted to make it more about the guests and stuff like that, but I will insert mine. I
Of
always got to
course,
insert
yeah.
mine. Our work ethics, that's what I admire you for, is because you keep pounding the pavement. I got to do the job, I got to make the money, but I got to do school, I got to do this, but I need to keep putting myself out there so I can get roles. That weekend that I'm free.
Well, do stuff for your brain, but do stuff for your heart and just, sleep when you can.
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming. This thing's gonna cut us off. And thank you for doing the show.
Definitely. And it's always good to talk to you.